Go look around the league. Wait a second.
100 years ago.
Shut up, Dan. Go look around the league and tell me where there's a defensive end that's the 4th string that's as good as Brandon Graham. You're not going to find it. So a guy that has done what he's done in Philadelphia is getting paid what he's getting paid to be the 4th string. Sign me up all day and twice on Sunday. I'm going to make that move every single time.
Zander Krause joins us now.
What's up, Big Sills?
Host of Birds 365. Yeah, man, the guy shows up in a Harley. And, I mean, he's a great player, though, isn't he, man? But he loves standing on that hill. Look at me, look at me, look at me.
I got no problem with it, Big Sills. He's putting up yards. He's putting up numbers. That's all I care about. I could care less about all that stuff. And you do, too, but you just pick on AJ Brown.
No. The player's good.
The player's more than good.
But he makes the team predictable, too. You have to understand that.
I don't really think so. I don't think he does.
So wait a minute. He had a great year.
Hey, Dan, Justin Jefferson. Oh, we know they're going to throw to him. Okay, stop me. They're not going to. I mean, he's too good to make predictable.
I think all those big-time wide receivers make all those teams what? Predictable. You ever notice the teams that win Super Bowls don't have those guys on their team?
It depends, like, who's your quarterback. Let me shut this.
Hold on here, Zander. Check it out. Devontae Adams. Does he make that team predictable in Green Bay? Yeah. Are the Packers on the way up? And what's he doing in Vegas? He's in Vegas now, isn't he? Devontae Adams?
Quarterback. It depends your quarterback.
Oh, wait, here. So Tyreek Hill got that $30 million. He's down where now? I think he's in Miami.
Yeah, but he came from Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to compare Patrick Mahomes to Jalen Hurts.
Wait here.
I know what you're saying, that they go to
do you? I'm saying that all these guys make their offenses predictable, all these big-time wideouts, and the teams that don't have those big-time, right? Well, you have to have a big-time quarterback. Oh, wait a minute. You're right. You have to have a big-time quarterback.
That's not what I said.
It's not what you said. But those guys all have big-time quarterbacks.
I see what you're saying, but I don't think are you seriously going to sit here and tell me that having a guy of AJ Brown's caliber is a net loss to the Eagles? Is that the hill you want to die on?
Sure. You know why?
Really?
They went 1-7.
You want to go back to Jalen Reagor and Queasy Watkins?
They were 1-7 with him.
Okay, they were also 15-2 of them on the previous 17 games and went to the Super Bowl and lost by one play.
Oh, yeah, we go back in time.
He also had a touchdown in that ball game and caught for 100 yards. Like, you're being so that's too selective.
That's right. We go into we go back in that time machine with the flux capacitor, and we go back with the flux capacitor back in time.
Okay,
we go back to 2022.
Everybody. You're right. I'd rather have Queasy Watkins and Jalen Reagor than AJ Brown. I mean, come on.
I can't even name you the wide receivers in Kansas City.
No, but they have Patrick Mahomes. Can you name me the wide receivers in San Francisco? Can you name me the wide receivers in Detroit?
Yeah, because they're in the same boat.
Can you name me the wide receiver in Dallas?
Yeah, because they're in the same boat that the Eagles are in. They got a guy.
Detroit and San Francisco just competed for an NFC title. And the year before that, the Eagles did with San Francisco. These are teams that have great players.
AJ ain't delivering shit.
Wait a minute. It's not all on AJ to deliver. It's a team ball game.
Okay. All right. Let's.
Am I nuts? Am I
no?
He'll keep getting his numbers.
He'll keep getting his numbers. He'll keep getting paid, and he'll keep getting his targets, and the win totals will keep going down.
I don't agree with that. They had AJ Brown's been here for 2 years.
They have gone down the last 2 years.
1,500 plus yards 2 times.
And the win totals have come
missed
down.
The playoff game. How did we look in the playoff game? How did the offense look in the playoff game without AJ Brown?
And get this. And the win totals have come down the last 2 years.
Wrench, thank you, man. Appreciate
it. Hey.
Not for praising me, but for the super chat.
I like that. Hey, Wrench. At least he's not running like homies. Listen here. The win total went down, right?
What, last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
From the year previous. Hey, the level of playoff. the Super Bowl to getting knocked out in the division round. No, excuse me, wild card round.
Yeah, but the whole team took a step back
Whoa.
last year. That's not all on AJ Brown. Come on.
Come on, man. He's making the most now. He's the highest paid non-quarterback position player on that team.
So the Eagles collapsed because AJ Brown. Because AJ Brown didn't talk to the media for 3 weeks.
I don't know, man. You make a lot of money, you take a lot of heat, don't you?
Okay, look, I'm not saying he's perfect. I would like maybe for him to actually, I wouldn't. I could care less how the guy acts. I actually think he's a great guy. I've never talked to AJ. I've never met him. I've never seen him. But I talked to John, and John is, say what you want about reporters, John is objective. And he says to me, behind the scenes, that's a guy you want on your football team. If I take that opinion, who I trust John McMullen, and I couple that with the production in Philly, yeah, good. I don't care. I don't care if you want to be paid $30+ million a year. I don't. It doesn't bother me one bit.
Guy's taking bows.
No, he's not. Find me a receiver in the league that doesn't want their numbers. Every receiver wants their numbers. That's part of the position.
And will Justin Jefferson ever win a Super Bowl in Minnesota?
No.
Okay. Will Devontae Adams ever win a Super Bowl in Vegas?
No.
Will Tyreek Hill ever win a Super Bowl in Miami?
Probably not. It's very unlikely.
Will St. Brown win a Super Bowl in Detroit?
Potentially, because they did the right thing around him.
Maybe him. They're good.
Well,
good
that proves my point. You need a good.
Well, wait. Here's what proves my point.
Like, those big all on the receiver. If I have a receiver, I don't win. If I don't have a receiver, I win. It's not a 1-to-1. It's not apples.
No, it's not a quarterback.
Well, a quarterback matters, but the whole team matters. If I build a great team around AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, I'm going to have the best chance at winning a Super Bowl. Unless you're Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, and you can win regardless of who you line up outside. But these are exceptions. They're not the rules. And you know that. Patrick Mahomes is elite, elite, elite. There's nobody in his league. Not Joe Burrow, not Josh Allen, nobody.
You know what's funny?
So I'm not going to follow that method.
There was a dude that played in Philly that delivered a Super Bowl against Brady, who wasn't a starter, but 1 year in Philly and never really was a starter outside of Jacksonville. What was that guy's name? I forget. Who's that?
I credit that to Doug Peterson. I really do.
Shows you can win,
not only Doug Peterson, but we talk about Nick Sirianni. I mean, you think Nick Sirianni would have taken that team?
Absolutely.
And then they let that guy go. I said to John, we can praise the owner for making, he has been the best owner in Eagles history. There are knocks on Jeffrey Lurie, but boy, the owners they had before were terrible. I like Howie Roseman more than you like Howie Roseman, but I do understand your gripes with him. My biggest knock on them will always be getting rid of Doug Peterson. You talk about it. We got one Super Bowl in 50+ years. That guy beats Tom Brady and Bill Belichick with Nick Foles. It's incredible. And then they just let him go because
it's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie. It was stupid, but it shows you how much the front office values power. And hey, it's their toy, right? Like, what are we gonna do? We're fans of the team, so we're gonna be beholden to it. But I don't like that.
Jeffrey Lurie has underachieved as an owner.
It depends, I think, who you ask. If you're a Philly fan, diehard Philly fan through and through, and you're a fan, I'm talking about like you're not looking at any of the business stuff. I would say underachieved. I mean, one Super Bowl is not great, right? I mean, it's one Super Bowl. It's not great. But there's a lot of teams that have never won a Super Bowl. So, like, from objectively, I guess you could argue they've been somewhat successful. They have a lot of wins. They've made it to the playoffs a lot. They've won the NFC East a lot. So, from that perspective, but if you're like Angelo and all you care about is Super Bowls, and that's how I am. Look, if you ain't first, you're last, right? I mean, that's how I believe. Then yeah, I think he's underachieved, but value of the franchise is going up. They compete every year. I could see how in their world they think they're doing a great job. Or if you're a reporter of the team and you're not a fan of the Eagles, i.e. John McMullen, who he could care less whether the Eagles win, lose, or draw. He's just covering the team. He says they're a great ownership. So I think it depends who you ask. I don't know. You're not a fan of the team. Do you think they've achieved well?
They're 17-18 in the postseason yet. since 2000. Yet, it's a complicated question if you think about it. Now, when you're talking about being around the rim every single year, and pretty much the last 25 years, 24 years, have they been around the rim where they're in contention there? You'd have to say that them, Green Bay, Seattle, the Rams. I'm talking NFC. You know, they're
there.
They're there
in the mix every time.
The Bucks, to some extent, you're there around the rim. Again, I think the control problem that they have, it gets in the way a lot. And this is my criticism, and this is my view. I
agreed.
I think they do so many good things, Zander. They do more good. How about this? I probably haven't said this, but they do more good things than they do bad things. But the bad things matter the most at the end when it comes to crossing the finish line. Like, you know what they do? They run 75% of a 110-meter race, and they're in first place. And then you know what? The last 25 yards, they trip.
Yeah, it's like incrementally doing things right, and then you do one catastrophic thing that blows up your chance. Yeah, I think that's fair. You know, the playoff record thing is tough because if you get knocked out of the playoffs, like if you don't win the Super Bowl,
you're in it.
The best you can go though is what, 2-1 because you made it to the title game.
Well, look how many years the Chiefs went not winning a Super Bowl from the time
they won. Outside of Patrick Mahomes,
it's 50 years.
Outside of Mahomes and Brady, though, are there any other quarterbacks that have a well into the winning numbers percentage in the playoffs? They don't, because if you get knocked out, you're 2-1 or 3-1.
It's Montana and
and that's going back real far. I'm talking about, you know, in the last 25 years.
Here's Peyton Manning.
What's Aaron Rodgers' playoff record?
He's 12-11.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense because
Peyton Manning's 13-12.
Exactly. So everybody hovers right around 500 as long as you're making it to the playoffs consistently. So I get it, but when you're comparing yourself to Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, it's tough to hold the candle. They win so much. Patrick Mahomes is on an insane trajectory.
So are you wanting to compare yourself to Dak Prescott? Is that what you're looking to do?
I walked into that, didn't I? No, You're right. I mean, if you want to compare yourself to people that win a lot, yeah, it's not good, but you're not going to win every year. It's just it's the NFL, man. We're not going to win every year.
What was your
I don't want to be Dak Prescott, though. At least we made a title game. At least we made the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts. Dak Prescott can't even do that.
Not happening. I don't see it with that kid. Vic Fangio and the comments that have been made by the Miami Dolphin players, and now you're hearing some of the comments that are being made. And I like the fact, you know what you're building, you know what the Dolphin fans have done, or the Dolphin players have done? They've rallied the Eagle players before they've even played a game around the coordinator.
So true.
And I think what they've done is it's absolutely going to make Vic's job easier. And those guys are going to buy in quicker because they see the way he's coaching. I actually think the Dolphin big mouths down there did the Eagles a favor.
Yeah. And by the way, that segment you had yesterday on your show talking about this was awesome. It was a masterclass in how to do a good sports show. And it was a fantastic take. I don't care, man, if Vic Fangio, whether I want him to coach you. And that's why I love what Jalen Carter said at the podium yesterday. I know it's just a podium and it doesn't matter all that much, but he's old school, man. I love it.
The words matter now because you know why the play can't.
Right. Exactly. That's a good point. And AJ and Jalen Carter, a guy that's that naturally talented. Sometimes those are the guys that don't love the coaches because they're like, hey, man, I'm good. You know, like I don't need to be coached hard. But Jalen Carter's like, I love that. That's good because I view Jalen Carter as a guy that could be a leader on the defensive side of the football.
He was coached by Kirby Smart. Remember where Kirby
apparently
Smart comes from? He comes from Nick.
Apparently, Johnny Mack gave me this intel this morning on Birds 365. He comes from, I forget the name of the school. And he's a Florida guy. He comes from a Florida high school. I can't remember the name of the school. Let me look it up real quick.
Is it St. Thomas?
No, it's not St. Thomas.
Is it an
and apparently it's old school Florida high school football.
Is it Northeastern?
No, it's a weird name. It's tough to pronounce. One sec, I'll get it for you.
Is it Yucatan? Is it Yucatan?
APOPKA.
That's where Sapp went to school. He
Yeah.
went to school at Apaka High.
Yeah.
That's where Sapp went.
Yep. And John was like, that's an old school type of program where
It is.
they were probably pushing him very hard. So he's used to that type of coaching.
Hard
Which is great.
coaching
I
in
want more
Florida.
guys like that, man. I don't want guys that are, and that's what I like about Jalen Hurts. And that's what I don't like about the dichotomy of Hurts to Sirianni. Like, I think Jalen would be better with the complete opposite style of coach. And that's like a Mike Vrabel, maybe a more offensive guy, but a Mike Vrabel. Like that's why I like Saban with him, right? Like Jalen wants to be pushed. And I think he's okay with being pushed. And when you push him, you force him to be better. And without that, I don't know if Jalen is going to get, if we're going to get the most out of Jalen, when I think Jalen acts like the grown up on the sideline. And I don't like that. I want the coach to be the coach. And don't you kind of feel like that where Nick's like, remember the Super Bowl, the iconic moment in the Super Bowl? Was it the Super Bowl? And Nick's like calling him out, and Jalen's like, yo, dude, put your hands down. Like,
it may have been the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, it was one of those games. I forget exactly when it was, but yeah, Barbara says Hurts left Saban. Well, Hurts left Saban to sit for his career. They left on good terms. He graduated from Alabama. I mean, he wasn't going to play that year. What did you want him to do? Sit there for a second year on the bench? He stayed there a whole year on the bench. I tell you, we had Howard Eskin on during that time, and Howard kind of put that out there and kind of as a rip. And I thought that was not fair to him because remember what he did do? He sat there the whole year, and then he transferred. He was a good teammate. And to me, I thought that was something that was a task that he wanted to finish. He started the year. He didn't get in a transfer portal. Well, remember, Dan, he came in the SEC title game after sitting on the bench the whole year.
That's right.
Led the team.
And he won that game.
And he won that ball game. And then he left after graduating on great terms. So, come on. This is a guy in college trying. His ultimate goal is to make it to the NFL. I'm not going to not dock him for sitting on the bench for 2 years. I wouldn't want to do that either, and neither would you, and neither would any other player that's of any pedigree.
That's why I transferred.
Exactly. And that's why you're now a Miami legend. So
yeah, and right.
It worked out for you.
I'm not sitting for anybody. Big Sills don't sit the bench, dog.
I don't blame you, Big Sills. I don't blame you.
Has Jordan Davis been a bust? Or no? Have you been disappointed with Jordan Davis?
Yeah, I would say it's too early to say bust, but I've been disappointed. But I think when you had Brian Baldinger on, Dan, the other week, I think he hit the nail on the head because John McMullen talks about this all the time. And sometimes I'm with him, sometimes I'm not. But he's like, people are always going to say Jordan Davis isn't living up to the hype because they drafted him at 13 or 14 overall, and they want him to rush the passer. He's never going to rush the passer. And even Baldy said that. Like, he's not a pass rusher. So you could argue, however good he turns out, 13 was too high to take him there. And I think that's going to get blurred into this a lot. But that's not why they got him. And I don't think that's why they're trying to use him. Like John talks about, and we talked about this. I would encourage everybody that's listening, and even you, Sills, I think you would love that segment. I'm not sure if you ever caught it, but I titled it John McMullen's Masterclass on Defense. And John really explains what Vic is going to try and do with this team. And it's not a 3-4. There's 3-4 involved in it, but to say it's a 3-4 base is technically incorrect. They're going to switch to a 4-man front, a 5-man front, and just imagine a 5-man front with this team with Jordan Davis as the nose. That would be a nasty front, man. Like, and again, it's not a stat roll, right? So like, it's tough to justify a 13th pick when he's getting no stats. But if he's making the impact that I think he can make, I don't think it's a bad pick. I think they went a little too high for him, though.
How about this? What clouded it was the combines, because he ran a 4.78, and you're going,
and then you're like, wow, this guy can run.
Drop him in a 3 technique and let's see him get up the field. That's not what he did at Georgia. How about this, Zander? If that guy has this 22 tackles, 4 sacks this year, but the Eagles are 5th in run defense, that's a win.
Right.
That's a win.
Right.
Because that means the linebackers must be making plays. There must be pressure they must be constantly 3rd and long. Remember, the key to this and the key to pressure is 3rd and long. Why did that defense fall apart last year? The only thing keeping that thing together, like a zip tie, the only thing keeping it together was the fact that they were good against the run all the way up until week 13. When that thing went away, it all collapsed.
Yeah, that's true.
They've got to stop the run first. They stop the run, pressure will come.
Yeah, I agree. And the one thing I'll just say this on Jordan Davis, I had the opportunity to JAKIB Media produces the live event of the Maxwell Awards. We've done that. We did that for 3 years, and it was really cool. I actually have some great stories I think the viewers would enjoy from those. I met Jalen Hurts. I met Nick Sirianni. I have a funny Nick Sirianni story from it. Brandon Graham, great guy, awesome guy. And I met Jordan Davis there. This was before he got drafted by the Eagles.
I remember the pictures you sent me.
Yeah, like he really he's got, when you're around him, you're like, this guy like looks like he's going to dominate the NFL. Now that's not the end all be all, but one quick more story on the Maxwell Awards. So I'm at backstage, and this was the year that Sirianni won. This was the Super Bowl year. So Jalen had won the best NFL quarterback award.
Burt Bell.
Burt Bell. Sirianni had won the coach award. I forget the name of the coach award, and BG was there as like the veteran. It was giving back award or something. So BG comes around. I shake BG's hand. Firm, crisp. What's up, BG? I talked to BG. Jalen comes around. He's cool, stoic. I took a picture with Jalen. Shakes my hand. Firm handshake. Nick Sirianni comes around and he's like, and he shakes my hand. It's like, it's soft like Charmin. I'm like, I don't know if I can trust a guy that can't shake my hand. So but I've always held that in my head of like, I don't know about
remember, man. Anybody who whispers or anybody who stands in the dark, don't ever trust them, dude. I don't like people who whisper.
Yeah, and men that shake your hand like this with four fingers.
Like a waiter. I'm not
not having it. I'm not having it.
By the way, something that's off topic here. Did you see the homes that Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts live in? $600,000, $400,000, and
I don't know how much. I don't know. I will say I don't know how much truth there is to that. I know they were their original homes, but I think they were like what they bought on their rookie contract. So I don't know if who knows if they've upgraded since they got their big money.
I could see Devontae living in that.
I could too. I really could, especially in his playing city. You know, he'll probably ball out when he goes back home. Or
goes back to Alabama, buys himself
or wherever he wants to live. Yeah. So but pretty cool. I think it says a lot about these guys.
I do too.
I will say, I'm with you sometimes how he misses in the draft, but in the last 4 years, it feels like there's been a shift in the type of player they're acquiring. And it's a lot of guys that have winning mindsets and aren't caught up in all of that, the dumb stuff. And Jalen Hurts has it. Devontae Smith has it. Landon Dickerson. Like, these are all, I like that. Now they haven't all panned out. Some of the Georgia guys, I mean, they got to step up. I'm calling this year the year of the Georgia Bulldog on the Eagles. I mean, Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter. I mean, these are all guys that have to take significant steps forward. So, yeah, Barb, he did. He gave me the dead fish. That's exactly what it was. Yeah. And it felt like a piece of Charmin toilet paper. It was so soft. I'm like, what is that guy lotioning up before this event? That's weird.
Hey,
grizzly dude that's coaching the football team,
It's all cold and clammy and shit. You're like, nah, man, this ain't cut. Hey, I put a list together of Eagle players, since you mentioned this, 25 and under, that's on the roster right now. And you know what? Some of this is going to be incomplete. So,
right. Exactly.
I really like this Micaiah Becton sign that they had.
I heard talking about him at right guard. See, I was with you on that. I was right there with you. And my problem with it is I still would like to see it because I think it would be better. But after talking with John so much on Birds 365 every day, and again, whether you like John or not, it doesn't matter to me. John is I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about anybody, whether they like John or not. He is very objective and he knows this team. He knows the inner workings of the team. He's got great inside sources, inside information. He says it's a very, very, like, they want Tyler Steen to be the guard. They're giving him the podium treatment. It's his job to lose, basically. And the other thing that he said that, about Mekhi Becton was Mekhi Becton standing next to Jordan Mailata. It's the first guy we've seen in years that looks like Jordan Mailata. Like,
he's enormous.
Dan, Jalen's only 6'1". Like, can you have that? You know what I'm saying? Like, Mekhi Becton, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata. Hershey's a 7-step drop just to be able to see over some people.
6'6", 6'6", 6'3", 6'5", 6'8".
Yeah, Mailata's 6'8". Dickerson's 6'6", Becton is 6'7", and Lane is 6'6". It's like, ooh, Jalen's not that tall. It's not like we have Justin Herbert. We have
the
Jalen
pillars of Philly.
Yeah, really. So I don't know. I don't know if he would work in there. He's also never played a down of guard in his football career. Yeah,
he's probably going to be the swing tackle.
Yeah.
Reed Blankenship, 25 safety.
Yeah, he's just a role player right now to me. I'd like to see. I think Sidney Brown. I like his upside. To me, I think Sidney Brown's going to be a good player. He's coming off the injury, obviously. So, was it Achilles or ACL? I think it was maybe Achilles for Sidney Brown. I can't remember which one, but I'd like to see him step up. They like Reed though, Dan, and they signaled that when they picked up that future contract for him. So he's technically under contract for another 2 years. But my problem with the safety position right now is with all the depth at corner and even the depth at the slot position, don't you want to get Cooper DeJean on the field this year?
Let me go here. Because I this is my vision. It's not where the depth chart is now because I've seen the depth chart.
Right.
Clint sent me a depth chart.
Yeah.
But here's my depth. I got Quinyon Mitchell playing left corner. I've got Gardner Johnson and Cooper DeJean in the safety positions. I want to get him in the strong safety position, free safety position. I want to get Gardner Johnson there and Slay. And when you go nickel in the slot, you put Isaiah Rodgers in there. Yeah. I mean, to me,
see, that was my original thought. But like after seeing, did you see who they had in team 1 and team 2 yesterday and team 3? So yesterday, no Bradbury was there. So they had, now they're going to put Mitchell there for the season. They didn't give him Mitchell if the team won to Mitchell because he's a rookie. They're going to make him earn it, which I understand. But without Bradbury yesterday, they had Slay at cornerback 1. They had Isaiah Rodgers on the outside corner in place of James Bradbury. And then they had Avonte Maddox in the slot. Now, Avonte Maddox never stays healthy. But if he's healthy to start the season, you could probably pencil him in at nickel corner.
But what I'm going to do with Maddox is this. I'm not going to start him, man. I'm going to try to get as many
I'd rather
games
get the young guys. Yeah.
Get as many games and reps as I possibly can. Get him on the field. Watch it. Zander, sometimes coaches will do this. If you got a history of being injured, you know what they'll do? They won't start him, but he'll play the majority of the reps.
Right. And they actually did. So what they did yesterday was they swung for the back end of the team 2 and team 3. They put Avonte Maddox at safety. And I think that would be more likely because Cooper DeJean played nickel corner yesterday, and then they moved him outside on team 3 to be outside corner. Like, I don't think they drafted him to be a safety, and their fear there is if they move him into safety, he's probably going to end up staying there, and I don't think they want that. So my point is, I think they would move Avonte Maddox to be the safety, maybe safety number 4. You have Gardner Johnson, Blankenship, Sidney Brown, and then Avonte Maddox, and then maybe shoot Cooper DeJean in on the slot. But I'm with you. I think Cooper DeJean has to be on the field.
I want to get him on the field.
Me too. Definitely.
See,
and Quinyon Mitchell, I think, is a shoe-in for cornerback too.
I actually think this guy DeJean could actually be a candidate for Rookie of the Year because you know why? You're going to be able to put him in multiple positions.
Yeah.
Kick returner, punt returner. You're going to be able to put him in the slot position. You're going to put him at corner. He's going to get on the field more potentially than Mitchell. Here's my problem with Mitchell. So are you going to play Mitchell a lot in the exhibition or are you not?
Have to.
Okay, so wait. You have to. I agree. But that's not their history.
Yeah, it's not. They are showing some signs this summer of changing things.
Maybe Vic pushes that.
This is their first since Sirianni has been here. This is their first mandatory minicamp coming up in June. They haven't had one of them. They're having the OTAs obviously, and there's been pretty good attendance. I would say, these are voluntary. Remember, you have all your stars.
There's only
That's the other thing
mandatory.
I like about. Going back to AJ Brown real quick. This guy's got paid $30 million. Come on, he doesn't have to be a voluntary OTAs, but he's there. He's there. He's playing hard. He's showing these guys how a number 1 wide receiver in the NFL looks and operates. Come on, man. Give him some credit, Dan. Give him some credit.
Showing up, making $32 million. Okay, sure, all right. Hey, Jesus criminy.
I'm just
what do you want to do? Give a guy a pat on the back for doing his gig?
No, I'm not going to pat him on the back, but I'm going to credit him for not taking the day off when it's easy to do that.
All right. Here's my linebackers. Zach Bond and Oren Burks.
Oren Burks is interesting. He was actually a decent player in San Francisco.
I want a little more size inside.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go that route. I don't. I think Zach Bond
you'll watch. They're going to be forced to, because those two guys won't be able to hold up because they're small.
Nakobe Dean's not going to hold up. I'm with you on Nakobe Dean. I'm almost done with Nakobe Dean. Well, it's not a new injury. This is the same foot injury he's been recovering from.
I'm
he had
sorry,
2 different
I'm
foot
lost
injuries.
on all of his missing,
Yeah, I know, I'm with you.
I could put him on a milk carton soon.
Now, I will say one thing that I was excited by from our breakdown this morning on Birds 365 with Johnny Mack, who got to spend the whole OTA down at NovaCare yesterday. He's been very hard on Devin White. Does not like Devin White. Says his fans are way too excited. This is a guy that is, has never lived up to the hype. He had 3 good games in the playoff run with Tampa Bay, and ever since then, he's been basically a disaster. John McMullen came out of there, and I know it's helmets and shorts. I know you're going to give me the whole spiel. I don't need it, all right? I've heard it before. He looked really good. And when I say that, he showed that athleticism. So if he can pull that out a little bit, like, I want to, at least he's showing that why he was taken 5th overall. Like, there is that athletic freak is still in there. Can Vic Fangio pull it out of him? I don't know, but I would go as far as to say, if he succeeds this year, that could be the biggest piece of the defense, because right now we have nothing. I mean, you just gave me Zach Bond and Oren Burks. If Devin White can be 50% of the best version of himself, the linebacker room will be significantly improved.
You think he has 159 tackles like TJ Edwards did his final year?
I don't. Because I think the one thing that Devin White struggles with that he doesn't have, that a guy like TJ Edwards did have, is he doesn't have that instinct. A lot of people knocked him on that. He's very athletic. Well, TJ Edwards was the opposite, right? He was an undrafted guy who wasn't a 5-star recruit, didn't have all the athletic traits, right? But his instinct off the line was impeccable, and that's why he got so many tackles. So I don't think he's going to get that many tackles, but I just want to see Vic Fangio put him in the right position. Hopefully he can do that. Hopefully he's receptive to a coach like Vic Fangio. Kind of sounds like Devin White was. I don't know. I don't know for sure, but when you talk to some of the Bucs reporters, kind of sounds like he was a guy that didn't like to be coached hard and wanted like that. So hopefully,
he pouted about his contract.
Yeah, pouted, but he's one of those guys. He pouted about a lot of stuff, and I'm hopeful he can not be that. He can turn it around here, and we can get the most out of him.
Did John happen to say what a role that Trotter Jr. might have?
Yeah, I pressed him on this because I'm like, are we shooing in Trotter like way too soon? So yesterday they had, because Nakobe Dean wasn't participating. He was out there. He wasn't participating, but they had Devin White and they had Zach Bond, and then they had Ben Van Sumeren and Oren Burks in the second lineup. And they had Brandon Smith and
wow. They didn't even give him any reps.
And Trotter, he was on the 3rd team. So I'm like, where's if Nakobe Dean's back, that's 5 guys. Now, John kind of said they're always going to put the rookie at the back to make him work for it. He's probably going to jump Van Sumeren. He's probably going to jump, even Oren
Can I
Burks.
tell you what he's doing? What he's doing? He's letting Trotter look and watch, sitting back and watching how these guys play technique. Playing in the NFL is a lot different than in college. You could do a lot more cheating in college because of your ability. And the pros, you have to be precise in the pros. So sitting back and watching, I guarantee you, Vic's a linebacker coach. He went to him and said, if I were you, I'd watch these guys that have played the position for 4 or 5 years,
right,
and get a sense of what no false steps, being able to.
The problem with that is, though,
what?
Who's he watching? Like, seriously, and I agree with your point. It's great. Learn from the guys, but he's what Nakobe Dean hasn't done squat in the NFL. Ben Van Sumeren's a nobody. Oren Burks has been okay at best. You want to learn from a guy that's been okay at best? Devin White has what it takes.
It's helmets.
He's never quite put it down. He's never quite lived up to the potential. He's not really.
But it's helmets and shorts. It's just steps. It's not
Well, that's what
anybody
I'm saying, though.
engaging.
He's also, yeah, true. Yeah. So there is stuff you
You're
can
not
take from him.
engaging, but you get this. You know why Oren Burks and Zach Bond are great to learn from? Here's why. They don't really have a lot to offer teams, so they can't make mistakes.
It's true.
Those guys
That
cannot
doesn't
make
mean
mistakes.
they won't, though.
Oh, no. But if Vic puts you there, this is what he's getting the best out of.
Right.
You can watch, and if these guys suck, you're out. So, I mean, next dude up. So, to me, when you're fighting for your job, you can't make mistakes. And because there's no engagement here, you're not having full contact practices. You're just making step practices. It really doesn't matter who's in there. Like you said, do I have to have A.J. Brown out there to run a route? No. Okay, I don't have to have him out there. Now, for me, though, what I would like A.J. and Devontae doing is because of these two young corners that you have, Cooper DeJean and with Devontae, I want them to give those guys workouts every day. I want those guys going at them like you were at Alabama and you were playing against some of the best players in the nation.
Players. That's such an underrated part of this. If you're practicing every day versus A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, I can assure you're not going to be too scared of whoever you're facing on Sunday. They're going to be comparable, you know?
Or less.
Yeah, or less. In
Most of the time, you're going to see less.
Exactly. I would love that. I would love them to battle it out, and that's you know that's kind of my point too, right? Like those rookies at cornerback, they have guys like Darius Slay, who's been an All-Pro, who's been a Pro Bowl cornerback 6 times. Like there's a lot to learn from a guy like Darius Slay, even if he's not at his best right now at this stage of his career. Like, who's Jeremiah Trotter Jr. watching? Somebody put it in here that I liked. Let me find it. He's learning from his dad and Seth Joyner. And I'm like, yeah, that's good for me. Learn from those guys. Don't learn from Oren Burks.
Yeah, well, if Vic tells me something versus my dad or Seth, sorry, Dad. Vic's my new father.
I get it. Yeah, you're right. But at least Seth has played at a high level.
I get all that, but you know what? Hey, Seth, you're running down Lawrence Taylor and you're running around with those guys. It's different NFL today.
Okay, I'm not comparing Seth to Vic Fangio, though. I'm comparing him to Oren Burks. I'd rather him listen to Jeremiah Trotter and Seth Joyner than freaking Oren Burks.
Orenthal Burks.
Orenthal. I actually think I don't want to give him too much hate because I do think he was decent in San Francisco. Yeah, he wasn't too bad.
He stepped in when Big Dom put the Juju on Greenlaw. Didn't he step in?
Is that who stepped in? Because
was it him that stepped in? I thought if that's the guy, I thought he played well.
Yeah, that game changed though. When what's his name?
Did.
Yeah,
get this. Remember when Mahomes goes, whatever his number was, he goes, hey, 50-something is out. 50-something is out. And you're like,
that was the Dom Maloik, as you called it.
Yeah, the Dom Maloik. After the whole thing, he dropped the Maloik on. Guy blows out his Achilles here, man. Hey, but see, look, I talk good about A.J. Owens. I mean, look, what the hell do you want from me, man? I gave
talk about a good guy to learn from, man. Those two, you had Anais Smith as your starters. Listen, young man, watch A.J. Brown. Watch Devontae Smith.
Watch Devontae.
Oh my God.
Hey, listen, it's all good. Don't worry. He. Now here we go. As I loved Angelo on the other day, and Angelo still thinks 5 wins.
That's
you
crazy.
think he's crazy, right?
I think I think deep down you do too. Like, all right, you cannot be an Eagle homer. Ready? I'm ready to put. All right, let's say I'm a Cowboys fan. Like, bro, the Eagles aren't winning 5 games.
No,
the New York Giants might win more than 5 games.
If Barkley goes down, how many games do they win?
I don't think it'll mess it up too much.
Okay.
If AJ goes down, that's a different story.
Okay, this is a good game to play. Okay, we'll take that out now. If AJ goes down, how many games do they win?
9 and 8.
If Devontae goes down, not all of them. I'm just saying if Devontae goes down,
maybe 10. I'll tell you what, the drop off from wide receiver 1 and 2 are really good. But boy, after that wide receiver position is scary bad. They had Joseph Nada out there yesterday because Devontae couldn't show up.
I know. Hey,
Yeah, that's
if
trouble.
Mulata goes out,
Ooh, that's a tough one because that's Jalen Hurts' weak side. That's his blind side. That's tough. I don't know that we have Becton. Like I think Becton can be serviceable. Now he's not going to be Malata, but can he be better than 15 tackles in the league with Stalin? I think he can be. I think he can be a top 15 tackle.
if Slay goes down,
I don't think too bad because they're playing a lot of zone D. Remember, where Darius Slay's older, he knows he's not playing press cover anymore. He's not playing that type of cornerback. We have great athletes in that room. Another guy that's been slept on a little bit, who John says is a bad practice player, is Keely Ringo. And I know Keely Ringo because I'm an Alabama football fan, and I watched him versus Alabama. Now that's a different level. I understand that, but that's a guy that has a lot of talent. So another guy, if Vic Fangio can pull it out of him, I actually think we would be okay if Slay went down. And I don't think they could. They better be ready because Darius Slay's 33, man. He's not 30. 33 is older. You know, there's a lot of fast wide receivers in this league. So they should be ready for that.
what if Jalen Carter goes down?
Trouble. Because that whole defense is going to hinge on that front. And if he goes down, you'd
Have to put Milton.
They don't have much depth at defensive tackle. They really
or end.
They have at least a little more at end though. I mean, you have Sweat, you have Hoff, Nolan Smith, kid. You have to do something. I don't care if you have to now.
Those are undersized guys, though, man.
I know, but at least they have bodies. Brandon Graham. I mean, Brandon. This is not like I saw Barb in here was kind of chirping having Brandon Graham back. Go look at Brandon Graham's stats. He didn't play a lot of snaps last year. He was very effective in those snaps. And the other thing to keep in mind, this is his last year. This is his swan song. He's going to leave it all on the field. I think he's a perfectly fine fourth string edge rusher. I have no issues with Brandon Graham coming back at all. I actually think he's a better fourth.
Plus the money's not horrible. It's not.
And he's a guy that, he strip sacked Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Like, go look around the league. Wait a second.
100 years ago.
Shut up, Dan. Go look around the league and tell me where there's a defensive end that's the fourth string that's as good as Brandon Graham. You're not going to find it. So a guy that has done what he's done in Philadelphia is getting paid what he's getting paid to be the fourth string. Sign me up all day and twice on Sunday. I'm going to make that move every single time. And Brandon Graham is the salt of the earth. He is an unbelievable man. I've had many conversations with him behind the scenes. Not that matters about playing on the football field, but he's a very, very good man. Great guy.
All right. I have a couple questions here for you now let's play a game here with this. By the way, do you think that the Eagles would do this? If there is some type of struggling going on at the beginning of the season, do you think they would allow Nick Sirianni to run through the tape? Or do you think that they would make an in-season decision? Because this is where I'm going to go here.
Yeah, Lurie hasn't shown to want to do that a lot.
Didn't he fire Chip late in the year?
Late. I think it was like, I forget. You guys in the chat would have to tell me exactly what week that was.
It was like
I think it was late
or 15.
Yeah, it was late. It was real late in the year. The only reason that I would say that that's possible is because Jeffrey Lurie. I mean, this roster's. I mean, come on, you got to give Howie credit. Nick, you got everything you could ask, especially as an offensive coach. Like, dude, you got it all now. Like, if you can't figure out how to make this football team win, then maybe you were never meant to be a head coach. And I say that with all due respect. Like, maybe you were better off as being a coordinator or a wide receiver coach. Like, there's a lot of talent on this football team. It's time to, put it down. It's time that, it's like,
I get it.
You got to get something out of it. So from that perspective, though, if they underperform, I think it's possible because of that. Like Jeffrey Lurie, as he should, is probably coming into the season like, all right, we got to win. We got to win. There's no, we had a late season collapse. We're going to turn it around. There's no excuses this year. You got to win, young man. You got to. You have to. And if you don't, we're going to be forced to go in a different direction.
I want to throw some names off you here.
Got it.
To replace Sirianni after 25. Belichick? Hey, by the way, hey, Philadelphia Inquirer, thank you very much for like coming in here and reading my my topics and my content. I saw your front page, thumbs up, thumbs down. I mean, we did that yesterday. It's all good. Hey, man, I go to some places too, but it's
The
really
only guy that likes attention more than AJ Brown is who?
hey. All I
Everybody in the
know
chat.
is
Wait, everybody in the chat. Who's the only guy in Philadelphia that likes attention more than AJ Brown?
I don't know why people come to and think. I have no idea. I mean, you know,
It's
holy
big,
cow, these
big
guys,
sales.
man. This is incredible. Belichick, thumbs up, thumbs down. Would you?
Thumbs up for me. It's different than what where they've gone. It's different than the direction that they've done. But apparently Howie's like loves the guy. And remember,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either. That was new news to me. And remember, Jeffrey Lurie he's a New England guy. He likes the Patriots. So he's probably got a lot of respect for him. And McMullen did confirm that was real this offseason. Wasn't
it just a friendly check-in kind of call? Like,
yeah,
hey, how you?
Yeah.
Or do you think there was more to it?
There was more to it.
Okay.
Now, it was just that because they hadn't made the decision to move on from Nick. But that wasn't just like a, hey, Bill, how'd your year go? That was like a, look, we had a weird end of the season. Would there be interest type of call, I think. And I think it would be weird because, like, how would they do that? Do you think Bill Belichick would take a back seat to Howie on personnel?
Here's the thing you got to remember with Bill. He's got 2 years remaining at $20 million. Okay. The reason he didn't take that Atlanta job was because
I wouldn't
it's $20 million and control of like what he wants is what Jim Harbaugh got in Los Angeles, complete autonomy and the money. Well, why would I do this, Zander? Why would I take a job
that GM in Atlanta is also a doorknob.
Why would
I know you're hard on Howie, but I'd rather have Howie than that doorknob.
Hey, right. Why would I take that job though for $9 million and no control when I'm making 20 from the Patriots?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I mean,
I'm not taking that. Everyone's like, Belichick doesn't have a job. No, he has $20 million on the beach though.
But I think that's what's interesting to Bill. Like when he didn't have Brady, which I don't like to make too many opinions, honestly, on the whole Brady or Belichick type thing because I've never played football at a high level. Like I can't just sit here and say right. That's to me, it's both. But like, I don't know. Like if you look, the one thing I will say, Belichick's record without that guy is not good. It's putrid.
Okay, that is fair. It's fair. However, give me a great coach in your opinion, somebody you revere. Give me a great coach in NFL history who you go, that guy's just a great coach outside of Belichick.
I'm young. I'm 26 years old.
Pick one.
It's Bill Belichick.
Okay, Andy Reid. Okay, what's Andy Reid without Mahomes?
Yeah, it's true.
What's Bill Walsh without Joe Montana? What's Chuck Noll without Terry Bradshaw?
Okay, ready for this then? So let's say Bill Belichick comes to Philly. Take Tom out for a second. Put Bill Belichick's record with personnel and drafting up with Howie Roseman's. The whole spiel. Whose is better? I think Howie's.
I'll take the 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah, but they had Tom during that. Like Tom made a lot. Tom was like Patrick, where like he could win with not a lot of talent. Now,
okay. Well, you tell me this then. Okay, during the Brady time, and you're right. See, Brady kind of skews that personnel conversation.
It's tough to judge his personnel because of Brady.
But here, you had free agent wide receivers. You had a trade with Wes Welker. You had a 2nd-round pick in Gronk that he found.
Yeah, that's true.
You had no first.
That's the best one. Yeah,
the quarterback was a 6th rounder. So think about this: you won 6 Super Bowls with a 6th-round quarterback, free agent wide receivers, and a 2nd-round tight end, and a murderer who was taken in the 4th round. You had no guys in the top.
Okay, so is that personnel?
You had no first rounders. Bill did that. He found all those guys.
But is that him being a good personnel guy, or is that him being an amazing football coach?
Both.
My point is,
remember something. Nick Caserio,
I think he would work with Howie in that. Howie, if you
Nick
build a
Caserio
team like this, if you build me a team like this, I'm going to have say on who plays on Sundays. I think he would take that. I think Bill would be a great coach of that team. But I think there would be compromise. Jeffrey Lurie's not moving on from Howie Roseman.
No.
I promise you that right now.
No. And remember something. Nick Caserio and Scott Pioli were the personnel guys helping with the New England Patriots during that time.
Right.
Scott Pioli is related to Parcells. They were in the Giants, and those guys were all picking those Giant teams also.
Yeah.
And so you got to remember that he had great front office personnel. But when you're good, Zander, you get Andrew Berry, you get Joe Douglas taken from you, you get all these guys taken from you. All right, let me go here. How about Mike Vrabel?
Yeah, I think he would be good. Without the pedigree though that Belichick has, I don't think they're going to go with a defensive coach. Look at every single coach they've hired. Seriously, Chip Kelly, Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni. I mean, even back before them, Andy Reid. They like offensive coaches.
Dude, the last guy I think that the Eagles hired that was a defensive coach, wasn't it? Ray Rhodes?
Ray Rhodes. I see, and that's kind of before my time where I'm not as well versed in that era of the Eagles. So yeah, I think it'd be Ray Rhodes.
I think Ray was the coach before Andy.
Yeah, he was. Ray Rhodes. There you go. Dean All Pro says it in the chat. Yeah, it was Ray Rhodes. So, in the last 20 years of the Lurie era, he's had an offensive guy at the helm. I don't think they would go Vrabel. I think they would break it for Bill because Bill is Bill, right? But I don't think they would break that mold for Mike Vrabel. I just don't think he's had enough success at the position at head coach.
You think there's any coincidence that Bill Belichick coached the greatest defensive player and the greatest offensive player in pro football history, Lawrence Taylor and Tom Brady?
I would say there's no coincidence to that. That's too many things equal that's not a coincidence, right? I mean,
and championships.
Yeah. I would say there's no coincidence to that.
How about Ben Johnson, OC Lions? That guy turned down 2 jobs.
Yeah. He's done really good. I mean, he's made Jared Goff like
$53 million, and the receiver just got 32.
And we're talking about Jared Goff.
Wasn't that guy St. Brown drafted like in the 4th round or something?
Yeah,
like
and boy, has he turned out to be a player, that Amon-Ra St. Brown.
But that's putting him in a position to succeed too.
That's the kind of coordinator I want. I will say, and I don't know much about him, so I don't want to put stick my flag in the sand on this. But he did kind of seem like a snarky dude. Like, yeah. So that's I don't know. Maybe, that's okay. You're right. If he's great on offense, I don't really care. But I think he'd be a good fit. I'd love to see them get another. That's why I don't know about Kellen Moore, because I would love to see them get another version of Shane Steichen where there's an offensive mind that knows how to, like, they look at Jalen Hurts and they're like, okay, you don't throw the ball like Josh Allen, but you have this skill set and I know exactly how to make that the best.
Here's the guy, Todd Monken, the guy in Baltimore. The guy just won the MVP. They just won home field advantage in the AFC with the Ravens. This guy is a skill set guy that fits Jalen Hurts' skill.
Yeah.
Here's an offensive coordinator. Now,
is he the offensive coordinator in Baltimore?
He's the offensive coordinator in Baltimore, and he's also the play caller. But here, you got to remember this now. You hire a guy like that with that offensive personnel, that means you're set in stone with Hurts, because if that thing goes sideways, that means you got a coordinator that you're going to be looking for a quarterback. You know how hard it is to find, let alone a drop back quarterback. A dual threat guy like Lamar and Jalen are impossible to find.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're going to be stuck with 2 guys here. I mean, I want to see somebody like Todd Monken get that. That's who I want to replace Nick Sirianni, because it fits Jalen's skill set.
Why are you so convinced that Nick Sirianni is going to be replaced? Because I just got done telling stories about him. I'm not the biggest Nick Sirianni fan. I'm really not. That's full disclosure. I'm a big Eagle fan. I've given Hurts his credit. AJ Brown, not a huge Sirianni guy. But if this team succeeds, they're not going to get rid of him, Dan. That's the realistic approach to this.
But then it's a remedy. It's a remedy for disaster again. You're going to be changing out. So you're gonna let Shane Steichen walk out the building again.
The problem with this, here's my problem with this, right? Remember, I did grow up liking this team. In order for Nick Sirianni to be out the door, this team would have to fail bad. They would have to win 5 games of their first They would have to win 5 to 8 games. They would have to pull an Angelo Cataldi on us.
I got to, but for me.
And to me, I don't think that's possible.
Hold on. Get this. All right. If Doug Peterson had won 11 games his final year in Philadelphia, would they have fired him?
No way. No way. No way.
So how were they almost going to fire Sirianni with 11 wins? I mean, this guy had 11 wins.
Yeah, it's true. But boy, you know how that looked at the end, man. That didn't feel like an 11-win team.
Oh, it felt like a 4-win team.
Yeah. So, you know, spur of the moment when you're in that position, you know, and remember that playoff game, because I remember this is another thing I talked to John about. He's like, when I flew down to Tampa, I confidently said going into that football game, doesn't matter what happens here, Nick Sirianni will not be getting fired. On his plane ride home, he said, man, I don't know. Nick Sirianni might be getting fired because like the team looked that bad down the stretch. So it's kind of a different scenario, but there's no world that Doug Peterson would have been fired if he won 11 games that year. Also, I don't like to live here because it's fantasy land, but I would have loved to see Doug Peterson and Jalen Hurts. I would have absolutely loved it. You go back to before.
You think he would have embraced him?
100%. Dan, film study for you. Go back to that year, Jalen Hurts' rookie year, and watch the last 4 games.
New Orleans or Atlanta, something in there, right?
New Orleans was good too. Arizona. Those last 4 games, now he went 1-3, but the team was terrible. The team wasn't playing good. Watch how he had Jalen Hurts throwing the football. And this is rookie year Jalen. This isn't like Jalen that's taken many steps forward, Jalen. So I think Doug Peterson and I think Doug would have been the match that I just described that I wanted. An offensive mind that knew how to take Jalen Hurts' skill set and make it the best. And we never got to see it because they moved on from him because they cared so much about power. Again, my biggest knock on the front office. Just drives me crazy. I would have loved to have seen Doug Peterson move on from Carson, keep how he can have his control like he had when Doug was gone, and let Doug Peterson coach this football team. I think we'd be able to be in a better spot right now if we did that.
I'm going to ask you one last question. I was going to save this for the top of the hour, but I'm going to ask you this question. If 2024 is a repeat performance of 23 for Hurts, what would his future be in Philly? And Angelo the other day said, I think he would demand potentially to be traded. Now, you brought a great point up about him sticking it out at Alabama and not leaving. Is that the kid's character? Now, remember, his legacy's on the line here. He doesn't have that autonomy to be redshirted in the NFL. Right. You've got to make that decision on what you're doing. So just like with Dak right now, they're in a dilemma in Dallas on what to do with him, right? Yeah. What's the alternative? Okay.
Yeah, and that's where Jerry's playing. That's why Jerry's not playing the right game right now.
Jerry doesn't have the leverage here. I think Dak has the leverage here with this. So
and he's going to pay more, Dan. Like that's what I like about.
They're going to give him 60.
Exactly, and they could have went about the deal earlier, paid him more money up front. This is where like the Eagles front office is running circles around some people. Like Jerry's waiting until the last minute on CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and Micah Parsons. Yep. Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith are under contract through 2029. Like now, CeeDee Lamb is going to get paid more than AJ Brown. Like, and they're probably not going to work the cap the same way. Like. They're getting their circles run around, and it is a credit to Lurie because he lets Howie spend the money up front. Yeah, as you talked about the other day.
How do you think that would play out if there's a repeat?
Yeah, back to the question on Hurts. I think Hurts would still have all the leverage because I'm trying to look it up now. But if you if you trade him after. Let's say after this year, his dead cap is still $107 million. That's not eatable.
No way. That's not feasible.
Yeah. So this year, if you moved on from him this year, which they obviously didn't do, we're going into the season. This offseason, it would have been 120. Next year it would be 107. The following year it would be 52 million.
What's that?
So Jalen kind of owns is in control here. If he wants to stay, he's going to stay.
What's the year though they have where they have like a pause in the contract where they
potential out is 2028.
Okay, that's still distance.
That's very distant.
That's still the too
so
far out for them to move
around Hurts. If this team fails,
they'd have to restructure.
No, if this team fails drastically, Hurts is not going anywhere. It's going to be rebuild it from the ground up. Jalen Hurts is still going to be your quarterback. You might have a new coach. You might even get rid of some of your key players. I don't know what they would do, but they're not getting rid of him. They can't. They can't afford to.
But okay, one quick one also. Do you think that Howie's power, he may not get fired, but do you think the strength in the front office would be wavering with Lurie if you fire Sirianni and it's an implosion? You lose him. If you lose him, that's your control of the roster, because then you're going to bring somebody else in that's going to demand a little more of the roster and control of the roster. I mean, you're not going to hire another yes man.
Jeffrey Lurie hired the coach. Jeffrey Lurie hires every coach. It's one of the things he toots his horn at the most, because he's basically always picked a winning coach, right? He's been pretty good at picking coaches. I think he would go right back to the route he normally does. If he doesn't go Bill Belichick, he's going to find some guy that not a lot of people are talking about. Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni. Remember, before Doug Peterson was the head coach, nobody was talking about Doug Peterson being a head coach. Nick Sirianni was the 9th or 10th interview this year. So a guy like that, he's not going to be ready to take control. He's not going to want control. And they're going to regroup that way. But Howie's not. Nothing's happening to Howie. By the way, like, I can't blame him for that. Look, Howie can't play the games. Howie can't coach the team. Like, Howie got you a pretty stacked roster, bro. Like,
well, then why'd you interfere during the season when you were 10-2?
Why'd who interfered? Problem. Who interfered?
That's my problem. Why'd you interfere? Why'd you panic?
Who interfered?
The front office did.
I don't think it was Howie.
It might have been somebody told him to fire him. That wasn't a decision. On Monday, Siri Liar told us he had every coach in the building that he loved. By Friday, he was gone.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could argue about that. I think Sirianni probably let Sean Desai go because he thought he was almost a move to save face type of move. But I don't know. I don't have any backing to that. I don't know. You think Howie Roseman called him and told him to fire him?
I do not think that guy makes any personnel decisions in coaching staff, because that's the same thing that you just got to telling me of what made Doug walk, was that he couldn't control the hirings of his assistants, but they were going to give Sirianni more latitude after the fact that
who fired Sean Desai, though?
I think that came from the owner.
The owner. Yeah, so
the owner came down.
The owner's not going to scapegoat himself, Dan.
What's that?
The owner's not going to scapegoat himself.
No. The owner's going to go like this. Tell my boy down there to fall on the sword for us.
Yeah, and he'll scapegoat Nick.
Hey, guess what?
Howie will stay put. I will say, though, that would definitely start to bring a little bit of, like, how many coaches is Howie going to have? You know, most GMs don't make it.
Hey, but wait a minute. Does it matter?
Does what matter?
Probably doesn't matter to those guys because they think it's them.
Yeah, but I'm not
it's such a bad optics, though. It's
terrible optics. But like I said, like, yo, Nick, like, I'm not going to blame Howie if this team fails. Howie did what he was supposed to do. He got us better players. There's some spots, we could be better, but look across the NFL, man. There's spots that every team can be better. You're not going to have a great star at every position. This is basically an all-star team on the offense. I mean, you got two guys that are at wide receiver, you got a tight end, you got a running back, you got the quarterback. Like, yo, Nick, if you fail, it's on you, bro. You're the scapegoat.
Remember what I told you, Junior? 2022 would be the best team Jalen Hurts ever played on. And that's going to hold true.
Well, you also told me once they paid Jalen Hurts, they wouldn't pay A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And you were wrong on that.
Hey, whoa. Well, wait a minute. He's making 6.4 this year, Devontae.
Now you're going to get into the contract.
He's making 12.
When they signed Jalen,
he's not making that money until 3 years. AJ Owens, man, is not going to be on this team in 3 years.
No, you're wrong.
No way. You know where he's going to be? Hey, wait a minute. So wait a minute, Zander. All these big money guys are working on 2-3 teams, but not him, right? Oh, wait, he has been on 2 teams.
Yeah, but the Eagles showed they're going to pay him.
Tell me this. If these guys are so important to their teams, why have all of them dealt? Stephon Diggs is on 3 teams. Tyreek Hill's on 2 teams. You got AJ on 2 teams. Devontae Adams is on 2 teams. These guys are being dealt in their prime.
I wish I had my producer computer out right now and I could pull up the video of Big Sil. Once you pay Jalen Hurts, you will never have AJ Brown.
Hey, that's because
you'll never have him. Okay, here we are. They're both under contract through 2029.
That guy does a great job with the contracts, and I've got to tell you, no question. That's why I said that Howie does the best job when it comes to those contracts. But you keep floating that damn stat around. They got $30 million. Congratulations, you went cheap. Well, you didn't pay anybody on defense.
Oh, really? Does this look like a cheap roster to you, Dan?
Defensively, yes.
Defensively, yeah, it does. But it doesn't look like a cheap roster to me overall.
It's a top-heavy roster.
It's very top-heavy, but
it's only offensive guys.
Okay, what would you rather have? A bunch of mediocre players and have great depth, or have
mediocre players on defense? Oh, what? You know what? I'll take that back. I don't know the rookies yet. I got to see what they do.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they do, but that's still being cheap if you're counting on rookies anyway. So to your point, you're correct.
AJ Owens, man.
Listen, if Quinyon Mitchell can play, CJ Gardner-Johnson, he's got to stay healthy, but I like that addition. If Devin White, we talked about it a little earlier, if we can pull anything out of Devin White, that's gonna improve the linebacker room. And I will say I'm impressed by their talent with Jalen Carter on the front. I think he's gonna be just fine. I think that guy's gonna be a stud. But yeah, not a lot of depth. I mean, there's not a lot of depth. But
you're spending $35 million in 2 cornerbacks, like Yale said.
Yeah,
that are in their 30s.
Yeah, but Dan, I mean, you can't have it all. Like, would you actually rather have a team of a bunch of mediocres and have great depth, or have great stars and don't have great depth?
Depth wins in the NFL. 22 depth won for you because you were the deepest team in the league. Okay? You have to have a rod. Dude, it's the war of attrition, not the war of stars.
You still need great players, Dan.
Dude, Kansas City has 2 great players.
They have Patrick Mahomes.
Great. And who else?
Patrick Mahomes is gonna go down in history as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever touch a football.
Who does Green Bay have?
I don't know. I haven't studied the roster like I studied the
They
Eagles.
destroyed a team that annihilated you.
Who?
The Packers killed the Cowboys.
Yeah, we also beat the Cowboys last year.
Yeah, because Dak stepped out of bounds. That's why you beat them. And after that, in Arlington, they crushed you.
Okay, we split with the Cowboys. We split with them every year. Get used to it. We're probably going to split with them this year too. Don't care.
Man, wow.
That's not what makes my season. Maybe we need to start a national football show in Dallas, because Big Sil sounds like a Cowboy fan pulling out the excuses for them.
I'm never going to go with that. I can't.
Are you tooting your horn that they beat us in the regular season? I don't care, dude.
No. No, if I was going to toot my horn on something, I'd say Dak was 9-4 versus you. So I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, in the regular season. Dak doesn't have a playoff win versus us. Dak barely has a playoff win versus anybody. The guy's a one and done every year.
Your quarterback's 0-3 in the postseason on the road. You better host those games at the
My quarterback also went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, so did Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay, but we're talking about Dak Prescott. He's done absolutely nothing in big games. And here you are hanging your hat that they whooped us in the regular season. I could care less.
Okay. So that Mahomes win didn't mean anything too then, right?
It didn't mean as much as the playoff loss to Baker Mayfield did.
All right.
That sent us home for the year.
Hang your hat on Hurts, my good friend. I love it.
I'm not saying I'm going to hang my hat on him. I'm just saying Dak Prescott hasn't done squat. Jalen Hurts has at least shown.
I'm not battling for that guy.
Yeah, I know, but bro, Dak Prescott's played 9 years in the NFL. He's had significantly less accomplishments than Jalen Hurts.
Okay, well then here, let me ask you something here, since you want to go down that route. We did this the other day with Jared Goff and with Jalen. Jared Goff has done 10 times more than what Hurts, even in his first 4 years in the league, than what Hurts has done. First 4 years, even 4,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, NFC Championship, lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl in his first 4 years, went 13-3 himself, and then He went out of a binge where the first, get this, in his first 6 years, 4 of those have been over 4,000 yards.
What's his playoff record? 5-4.
Okay, yours is 2-3.
Okay, that's my point. He hasn't done that much more than Hurts.
He's been to 3 NFC
Both
championship
lost the Super
games.
Bowl.
Wait, he's been to 3 NFC championship games, 2 with 2 different teams, a Super Bowl. He's been a Pro Bowler himself 3 times, and he's also just got a contract for $53 million.
And he also was drafted in 2016, brother. I'll talk to you in 4 years. Jalen Hurts was drafted in 2020.
I said I took the first 4 years. He went to his first 4 years in the playoffs. He was 2-1 or 3-1.
He was 2-2 through 2019, and then he didn't go back till 2021, where he was 1-1. 2024, he was 2-1. He's talk to me in 3 years when Jalen Hurts has logged more years.
Look at the numbers. I mean, it's not close.
He was 2-2. Jalen is 2-3.
No. 4,600 yards, 30 touchdowns. That's a quarterback, bro.
Oh my God.
That's a guy who wins.
You're so wrapped up in the quarterback stats, dude.
That's how you get paid.
That's how you. Well, Jalen got paid, which doesn't matter to me. I don't care if he got paid. I just want him to be great. Okay, but he's done what? Why do we pay quarterbacks? Because we want to go to a Super Bowl. Jalen took us there. Like, you can't just take that from him. I don't care how many games ago it was. Aaron Rodgers, people still tell me about his Super Bowl. That was like before I was born. I could care less.
It's like 13 years ago or something. That's a little too old too for me here.
Okay,
hold on.
You keep loving up on.
Hold on, let me clean these up here because I got to take my Eagle glasses off for a second here. And
no, I just want you to be fair. Jared Goff did not.
I'm not going to be fair.
Okay, fine. Then I'm going to battle you on it. I'm going to battle you on it then.
Okay, good. You hang your hat on Jalen Hurts. I'll hang my hat on a guy like Jared Goff. And get this, I don't really think he's an elite guy.
Okay, ready? Who goes further this year, Lions or Eagles?
Oh, Lions.
Oh, really? Where?
Yeah, they're better.
Where do they go? Where do they go? Are they
going to the NFC title game?
Okay, so they're going to play who? The Niners?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take that bet right now that the Eagles go further than the Lions.
You're not better than that roster. Your defense is nowhere near the Eagles. They're nowhere near the Lions.
We might not be better than their roster.
And they got a better coordinator offensively.
I'm taking our offense all day on them.
Where was that offense last year? The only guy different is Barkley.
Oh, last year was last year.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Your amnesia's kicking in now. You forgot about that.
No, I didn't forget about it.
Oh, no, you only gave him a pass.
Shrug off the past.
Oh.
I don't care, man. The team was also 10-1 last year, so you can throw that in the equation.
10-1. There it is.
If you want to talk about the past, I agree. I'm not going to hang my hat on 10-1. But why are you hanging your hat on 1-7 then?
Because that's who you are.
We were awesome.
You're not 10-1. You were okay. You were 11-6 in an ass beaten by the Bucks. Hey, Nick, you're done. Xander, great stuff.
Stills, I'm ready to keep busting you up, man.
Hey,
you get me fired up on this team.
Very good. Very, very good. Man, make sure you check out Birds 365. By the way, Xander, do me a favor. Where are we right now in the likes?
Let me pull it up. Appreciate everybody in the chat. We got the best viewers, Dan, on JAKIB.
I know we do.
I bounce around on Eagles YouTube, and I watch a bunch of other people. Our viewers, we have awesome viewers.
Hey,
they give such good content in the chat.
Knowledgeable, too.
Knowledgeable. They're loyal. 147.
Okay, guys, we are almost halfway through the program right now. We have to get it to 200. You guys did a great job yesterday. It was absolutely sensational. We thank you so much. By the way, Monday we're not going to have a show, obviously, because it's a 3-day weekend. But next
Memorial
week,
Day for our veterans, so we're going to take off on Memorial Day as you know, to pay our respects to the people who make this country possible. We're sitting here talking about football, Dan. Can't do that in another country, so we're going to take that time off for our veterans.
That's the greatest team of all time.
Exactly, 100%, no question about that.
So this guy's actually done something that I didn't believe that was possible. See, I had to give him a little kind of like an OTA. And now that I found out, he's actually really good. So he's going to join us every day at 3:30. Yeah, I had to put you through some OTAs. And now that, I'm like, yeah, no, I mean,
OTAs, some practice reps, some helmets and shorts.
Yeah, helmet. Yeah, now you're ready to go full contact. Yeah, you went full contact today. So
I'm gonna check you, man, because listen, and I'll say this because I know me and Sills debate when I'm on here. Sills is the greatest sports talker I've ever listened to in my life, and I want all of you in the chat to know that because I know you knock him, I know you criticize him, I know you hate that he's hard on our team. You will not find another person in the country who can entertain you, who can bring it to you every single day for 4 hours. That's why I love Big Sills. No matter how much I might disagree with him on something, I will always love his show, and he will always have a spot here in JAKIB Sports. You guys in the chat make it possible, but I do want you to know that whether you love or hate Dan, you listen to Dan because he's that good.
By the way, he's still going to go after me every day, so just so you know.
Oh, yeah.
Zander, man, great stuff. And you know how much I love you, man, and your pops. And again, you know what I love about this company here? You know, the name of the company is named after all the kids in the family.
A lot of people don't know that, Dan, where JAKIB came from or why it's called that. Yeah.
It's named after all the kids. And hey, it's funny how people pick on us, and you go take a look at some of those other companies going through all their bullshit, and JAKIB's making the thing happen. And I'll tell you what, this is a precursor. This is the storm before the storm. So we look forward to everybody doing this each and every single day. We do love all you guys, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. This show sucks, but I never miss one.
That's what I'm saying, Joseph.
That it should be on a T-shirt.
Yeah, that's the slogan of the Big Sills show right there.
Absolutely. Sileo, I hate you, man, but I'm here every day.
And that's what I want people to understand.
Great stuff. Make sure you catch him on Birds 365 in the morning, Monday through Friday. Also, too, don't forget Farzi, who was great yesterday. Also, he kicks off our broadcast each and every single day. And also, too, all of our great clips that we have. Zander does a lot, man. He's got a lot on his plate right now, and he makes it all happen. Brother, I love you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next Tuesday, and keep it here on the National Football Show.
See you, everybody.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.